That's right, everybody. Guess who? It's the great and glorious, soon to be famous one day, Nick Dutch, back on the camera again one more time. This is the thing you've all been waiting for all week. Forget everything you've been seeing or watching on television or following on TV. Forget everything else you've been doing. This is the time for you. This is, of course, the Tarot Show with, of course, myself, Nick Dutch, one of the greatest tarot readers on the face of the planet, in my humble estimation, of course. Whoops, there we go. And I'm so good, I nearly dropped a couple of the cards then, but never mind. Okay, just a few quick parish announcements before we get on to the big thing. If you yourself want to have your tarot read and have it in the Tarot Show, send it through via email. Send your request through, your first name, your date of birth, and a short request with a tiny bit of background to nickdutchtarot@gmail.com. That's where I'm taking all of the requests from now on. Not in the comment section, okay? Just via the email address, okay? nickdutchtarot@gmail.com. Here we go. We got plenty of requests coming in. The Tarot Show is getting nice and busy and nice and popular. Now, one thing I was thinking is, if the popularity of the show carries on, I may try and do another Tarot Show in the middle of the week. I might try and do that through direct webcam upload, rather than necessarily doing it on this proper camera, this good camera, and going through all like the converting and editing, rendering and all the rest of that prior to, of course, upload, because it is like anything up to an 8-hour duration job to get this production done if we include the shooting time and preparation beforehand as well. So bear that in mind. So there may be a slight dip in audio and visual video quality, but on the other hand, I'm still planning to get as much out as I can for you guys. So do get your requests through nickdutchtarot@gmail.com. Okay, Diane is curious about the guy who'll be coming into her life next. Ooh, exciting times. Let's have a quick look and see what the wonderful, mysterious Mystic Tarot's got to say about that and when it's going to be happening for you. All I can do is tell you what I can see. That's essentially what the job is about. I'm shuffling thoroughly when you can't see my hands and the cards are not on the table. What I'm doing is shuffling like crazy to make sure we get a nice, thorough, efficient, randomized reading so it's all good and proper. Here we go. Okay. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant, and very short-term future. I mean, the whole message of this reading is definitely talking about new beginnings, coming through very strongly with the Magician card there. I hope you can see it there nice and clear, okay? Magician card is like that moment when you've got enough preparation done and you're prepared to start doing something. Do we have any action signs here? More planning and preparation, so essentially once this individuals come into your life, it may be a bit of an intellectual challenge to try and get things working out right. But we do have some very solid loving signs there, okay? Now, the Ace of Cups is the one that everyone looks for in a romantic reading, okay? The other cup signs are important as well. They're all very slightly semantically different, depending upon the nature of the question, the nature of the inquiry, the nature of things popping through to my mind as well. So, for you to get the Ace of Cups there suggests this is going to be a good connection, high degree of compatibility, not just compatible, okay, high degree of compatibility. So it won't necessarily be what you've been fantasizing about, but it will be something that's going to basically enthrall you, excite you, and somebody's going to be just right for you. I'm sensing the color blue being very important and very strong with this individual, and the letter J is coming through very strong as well. It often comes through the letter J, not just because it's a very popular letter, because if we were thinking about just the frequency tables of the alphabet, it would be the letter E that would be the most popular one, wouldn't it? But within your case, letter J and letter B. And I don't quite know what those mean, but essentially that has some kind of connection to maybe the work he does, the company he's with, or maybe his name, okay? It's an important, somehow, significator associated with this individual. But essentially the feeling of compatibility, it definitely appears to be there. And it's looking very romantic and very positive on lots of different levels. So basically look forward to that. It does appear to be happening for you. Okay, Dolly Doe, you're curious as to how things are going to pan out financially. Big worrying question for all of us, even for the great and glorious Nick Dutch here, okay? Because, you know, the market's bad, the economy's bad, there's bad news coming out on the TV all the time, so essentially you've got to be very careful as to what you watch and the ideas that you absorb, because essentially you don't want to terrify yourself. But we'll just do a quick overview, have a look at the future, see if there's going to be signs of improvement and progress for you, because that's basically what we're all after. You and me both, okay? So let's have a quick look and see what's coming through for you. I've already done a reading for myself, so I know basically what the main message there, the whole energy of the situation is. Okay, we got a dual meaning with the lightning struck tower there, and I call it a dual meaning because of the way in which it's lying and the kind of feelings I'm getting from it. It came out upright. Now that can be a good thing, especially when it's coupled with something like the Fool card, okay? Because the Fool card speaks about a childlike sense of joy. So essentially the more negative meaning associated with destruction with the lightning struck tower does not appear to be the significant dominant meaning, because it's leading to something which is going to bring you into that sense of joy and happiness. So what can it mean? In this case, it's the message of the lightning bolt coming down to destroy the feeling of negativity and that sense of uncomfortableness you get when you're unemployed, okay? Something interesting is going to happen for you, naturally down to your own free will, down to your own independent energy, thought, drive, determination, and everything else which could possibly come from your own inner nature, okay? When I do a reading, you know, I don't turn around to you and say, it's going to happen all by itself. It's going to happen all by itself, because, you know, we're talking about real life situations here. When I'm doing a reading, I'm doing a reading for someone who's got a real life situation, and I'm there to try and give them a real life message. And a real life message for you is that basically you can do it. It's going to happen. Those signs came out within a short-term future, within 3 to 4 months at the very outside, because that is short-term future with this style of reading that I'm doing. It may be chronological, but those are still the short-term future signs, okay? Midterm, sense of being in control, okay? You're beginning to dominate your life all over again. You're starting to feel better. Self-esteem is coming back. Drive and determination. This is going to be something that requires some proactivity. Getting to grips with a job all over again. And essentially that feeling there is also very successful, okay? It is a sign relating to power, and also that of success which you yourself can actually integrate into your life. Alright, so essentially you've got that new beginning coming through in the feeling of something totally left field, okay? That's what the lightning struck tower was talking about, because it's not expected, but it's going to be there for you. You're going to go for it. You're going to take it. You're going to accept it. It's going to make you feel happy. You're going to start to feel in control of your life, but there's going to be so much change you're going to have to do to make sure you can hang on to it and make sure you can do well. But you're a driven individual anyway when you put your mind to it. Okay, when you put your mind to it, if you let the negativity get to you, things are going to be bad. Okay, but I get the feeling that you're not the kind of person who wants the negativity to get to you. You're the kind of person who wants the victory to come back. All right, the victory inside yourself, that good old-fashioned lioness you used to be. All right, so longer-term, future side of things. The slight feeling of frustration and resentment we've got there, I feel, will be because maybe after a year you won't feel that you're not going to be totally recognized for all the skills and hard work you've put in. But on the other hand, that's filled with even more better financial signs. Your finances are going to go up like that as you get the new job and new position. Then after a year, there'll be another kick up. So essentially, no matter what you're being paid, be grateful for it when the time comes. You're going to do it. Okay, we got a curious one now. A guy called Blake, who's doing some research at the moment. Alright, this is a very unusual question for the great and glorious Nick Dutch. You're really, doing something with my psychic muscles. You're flexing them, getting them stronger for me. I like that. It's all good practice for myself. So we have a real researcher doing real research. It's going to be important. It might affect the rest of his life. And he requested the Thoth Tarot. So out of synchronicity, and the fact I tend to use the Thoth Tarot when I'm working over the telephone and over the internet anyway, because of the quality of symbolism, the variety, the depth, and all the rest of that, okay? I've got it to hand. So let's have a quick look and see what the reading is saying for you today. Alright, as far as your research and what direction it's going to put your life in. Okay. Let's try and tackle this in a down-to-earth way. You're actually in a position of hoping this is going to be like life-changing and transforming. To a certain extent it will be. Whenever you're trying to find something new out, there's always a sense of, yes, I'm at a new level of understanding, a new level of wisdom, and so that will do you some good anyway. But I get the feeling there's like a soul aspect about this. This is something you've really had your heart set upon, and as such it's very important to you. You've got a real pull to whatever this research is. You've got to find an answer. This has been gnawing at you for a long period of time. You had an idea a long time ago. You want to try and turn it into reality. Again, we've got the Ace of Cups coming through, which I've already pointed out is a very good sign for a romantic reading. I don't necessarily think you're researching something to do with romance. You're not like one of these sort of researchers into human drives, are you? I don't think so somehow, but never mind. There's a feeling of passion you've got with your work, and that passion is something which is going to provide you with the ability to keep driven. But when you keep driven, be careful that you don't allow the passion to run you too far. when you're feeling emotionally passionate and connected to something, you can make a little mistake once in a while, can't you? Because you want the result to come. There's going to be some failure and some success which is going to lead you to where you want to get to, which is a form of victory. Will that victory to be precisely what you want to achieve? It's not quite that clear cut. It's going to take you on a different journey than the one that you want to go on, but it's still a question of progression. Alright? So carry on doing it. It's looking interesting, but I think it's going to provide you with a different form of self-knowledge and knowledge for other people than you've possibly taken on board. Okay, now we've got Lynn, who's interested in her psychic development. Psychic development is quite an important part of your daily routine when you're doing professional readings. Okay, I do meditation, I do prayer, I do all kinds of religious stuff all the time. I play around with my Ouija board as well, because essentially, the more ways in which I can increase my awareness and like get the psychological triggers right for when I'm choosing to open up, the better. Okay, so it can be very good for you. Quick word to everybody else out there: I'm not doing general readings anymore, not on the Tarot Show. If you want to have a general reading, you can do it via certain lines that I work on, but not on Keen.com and not on Liveperson. Alright, so essentially just be careful about that. But essentially, if you want to have a general reading, there's a line I work on in the UK for UK residents, and I'll be happy to help you there. But essentially, I'm going to focus in, Lynn, on your psychic development and see basically what's coming through for you in terms of thoughts, feelings, moods, and energies, and whether you're going to become the greatest magician on the face of the planet. It could happen. It could happen. You could be the next Alphonse Louis Constant, for all I know. I could actually be doing a reading right now for the next Merlin. Or Merlin, depending upon, what you prefer to be called by when the time comes, if you know what I mean. Never mind. Okay. Right, it's a bit of a journey. I'm doing this one as a chronological spread because I do believe that you have the capacity to do your own psychic development, so I'm focusing purely upon that particular issue and how the journey is going to go. I find it interesting and intriguing that the signs during the short-term future are essentially dealing with I would say a lot of self-analysis. We've got a sense of something rather uncomfortable there to do with some of your drives and your passions, and essentially how they could possibly be interfering with or interacting with your ability to do your work. You've got to remove yourself from the situation. Alright, treat it like a scientific experiment. You've got to remove extraneous variables, and that's why our path of personal development goes parallel with psychic development, if you get my drift. Okay, so a person who is a practicing psychic is more likely to grow up quicker than someone who isn't, because we have to choose to remove ourselves and our own interest for other people out of the equation, so that we can just do basically what is right and just be honest with the impressions that we get. Slight feeling of treachery there, okay? I feel there may be some people around you who may disagree with what you're doing. You don't have to tell them. That's quite simply, you don't have to tell them. We always want to be excited about what we're doing. Being excited about spiritual development, psychic development is always very important. But essentially, there's always going to be people around you who disagree, and that's why we've probably got more signs relating to some resentments and being slowed down, because you don't know whether to follow your path or follow what other people want for you. Okay? But although we've got those negative signs there, if you can learn to compartmentalize your life, so there's a time when you're interacting with your friends and your family, there's a time when you're doing your work, and then there's a time for you, your psychic development, and dealing with spirit in whatever way that you can, then essentially you'll be able to use all of this negativity and be able to put that aside and only use that as like a springboard to give yourself more motivation to find out more about yourself, more about all the other things which could possibly happen, and build up your experiences. Now, the way I see it, it is good to tell yourself that strange experiences just happen once in a while, and not to put too many meanings on those strange experiences, but just explore them and see how far they can go. Okay, sometimes you might need a mentor who can help you, but sometimes it's better to work alone. I'll have to leave that up to you as to basically where you're going to go there. Strong signs of being driven. Now, being driven can be a good thing. You need that to overcome the negativity, yes, but how far do you take that being driven? Is it you want to try and control the whole world with your magical powers? If that's the case, then basically you might be disappointed, because the stress of desire can remove away from you the ability to actually create results for yourself. You've got to remember that as well. Okay, but finally, tremendous signs of knowledge. Now, it's an almost Saturnian form of knowledge there. Okay, so that can be through stress, hard work, and sometimes even going through a few things you might even feel a bit powerless over. That's the meaning of the Saturnian energy. So it's going to be quite a hard journey for you, but there's a very good meaning and message about that as well, and it's almost like you're going to develop some kind of ability to do some kind of spiritual leading in your own right when the time comes. So consider this to be a long journey for you, okay? It's a long journey for all of us because it never stops really, does it now, okay? But for yourself, it's a long journey to get to where you want to go. And I think a lot of rigorous self-honesty is actually part and parcel of the whole journey for yourselves, just so that you can remove yourself from the equation when you're doing your own work and listen to basically what is going on there. I actually did a reading once with a lady who, as it turned out, was a very good clairvoyant. And she called me and she wants to have a reading with me very, very, very early in my psychic career. And she said to me, "Nick, why do you doubt yourself?" And I thought, what? You know, at this stage in the call, I'm supposed to be asking you for your first name and date of birth. And she says, "Nick, why do you doubt yourself?" And I thought, I don't really know. And she says, "Look, you've just got to listen to yourself much more." And I thought, hang on a minute, aren't I supposed to be removing myself from the situation? But I realised what she was talking about. Once you have removed yourself and your own desires from the situation, you can then sit back and you can listen, and you don't put too much of yourself into the readings and into the sensitivity that you're picking up. And you can just sit back and you can listen in the quiet without thinking about how you're going to express it to somebody else, and just learn to be honest. And my reading on her, after she told me this, was that she had some connection to King Charles I. And as it turns out, she was right. She was actually like a descendant. So it was actually quite an interesting reading. Okay, Shakira, let's have a quick look and see. You've got a love interest over the water, overseas. Distance relationships are always very difficult. Okay, I personally normally recommend people to have a look closer to home, like in your own city, your own town, your own county, your own local area. Okay, so that's what I would normally recommend. But you've already got feelings for this individual, so I'll just read upon you and them and see basically what's coming through for you there. Okay, so just let's have a quick look with an open mind, listening to myself, so to speak, and all the rest of that cool jazz. Let's have a quick look and see basically what's coming through for you. Okay, now, as I'm sure you know, I do this thing called the 8-card relationship reading when we're doing relationship readings, and we use 8 cards. Force between the two of you, get a bit more self-control over your emotions, because when you are in communication again, because this is also a communication sign, you've really got to think about, you know, what you'll be saying, how you'll be saying it. If you're too emotionally concerned, when you do suddenly communicate, you'll be having an argument, not having a conversation. This person does still have feelings for you, but feels they can't actually interact or integrate with you properly at the moment. So it looks like you may have to be the proactive one. On your side of things, a feeling of isolation and loneliness coming through very strongly with the Hermit there, but also a bit of a sense of a wisdom that, you know, there's this goal you want to reach, and you've got to try and get there somehow. So it's a very difficult time for you with this individual. But you've got to try and see it in a balanced way. And this is what the adjustment card is really trying to tell me, a sense of trying to get things, you know, literally balanced just right. Weigh up the pros and cons. When you are in communication, what's it like? What's it going to be like? And what kind of symbols or signs is he giving you when you are in communication? And then make an extrapolation from that. But don't wait, you know, don't wait too long. I would recommend that you be the one to try and find means of communicating with him, whether it's through Facebook, whether it's through MySpace, YouTube, or wherever. Just any form of internet communication, telephone, just do it basically. You've got to be the initiator here. There is some progression there, but it's going to be in a bit of a, you know, a bit of a meandering path. I can't guarantee complete success here, because although I think it's going to be good when you are communicating again, I still feel a bit of distance with this individual. So essentially, I can't guarantee it's going to be perfect. Alright, that much I can tell you. Okay, Karim, you want to know about your work, and you want to know about your potential relationship. Here we go, here we go, here we go. Right. Now, obviously, you know, you've gone through the visa process and all the rest of that. On your work side of things, it is a question of stability, a bit of caution as well, or indeed patience maybe. Maybe that's the message I'm getting there, because, you know, carry on doing your small jobs. Carry on doing them, because that's your stability for the moment, okay? But essentially something else which is providing financial gain and good stability is actually occurring for you around the corner. I do believe that very strongly, okay? So I think you are in the right place, and your talents and your skills are going to start to be recognised, but you've also got to be aware that it's still a bit of time before you're actually properly there and you can engage well with the workplace. Now, on the subject of relationships, oh baby, here we go. Completely different subjects, but what kind of message do we have here? It overlaps a little, okay? When you're doing better with work, you'll be doing better with relationships. We do have a sense of success as well. You are by your very nature someone who values stability anyway. And we do have signs of satisfaction and very strong romantic energies. It's not the Ace of Cups, it's talking about a slowly developing relationship, and someone who's got the same down-to-earth, practical, pragmatic energy as yourself, associated with what, you know, relationship life can actually be like. The energy I've got here is actually looking pretty intriguing. Within 6 months that will happen. Maybe, as I often recommend to people, focus in on your survival first and foremost, because that's essentially the most important thing for you. And I just pray that, you know, it will happen for you. I believe it will. You have a very good heart. A very good heart indeed. And I would just say carry on doing the best you can. Okay, Pamela, you've got some pretty big real life situations around you in the here and now. Well, with your 2 children, one of them's very sick, and basically you're struggling in lots of different ways, lots of different dimensions. Okay, well, let's have a quick peek and see what's coming through for you. Okay, let's just see the energies and all the rest of that that's going to appear for you. First and foremost, valiant. Not a valor, but valiant is the feeling I'm getting there. Namely, you're amazing. You just carry on fighting no matter what. Seriously, you've been held back. You're stressed out. Your family's got problems. You're struggling financially, but you still carry on. I've known so many people who've just thrown in the towel and just given up on everything. But you're not like that. You're miraculous. And I just want you just to carry on being miraculous. I mean, we got signs suggesting the negativity you've been going through. But a time will come. A time will come when you'll be able to plan for a better future. And when that time comes, I actually think you're going to be very happy. And you're also going to have an awful lot of pleasure in your life as well as happiness. But for the moment, the fact you do carry on, no matter what, is something you've got to be grateful for. Because you're the kind of person who can carry on no matter what. And it makes me feel very proud to be doing this reading for you today. I can see success in your future. But at the moment, you've just got to be proud of what you're doing. Alright? And enjoy what you're doing. Because you are amazing. And recognize that, realize that, and enjoy that. Okay? Okay, Brandon, yours is the last reading of today. Aren't you a lucky one? Okay, let's have a quick look. You're primarily interested in to see whether that special somebody is going to suddenly manifest themselves for you. Let's have a quick look. Obviously, Karen doing all the usual stuff. Find all the free dating sites and, get profiles and accounts on them and see basically what you can do there. Let's have a quick look and see what the reading says for you today. Just a second, please. Right. You've had... Your levels of failure have provided you with a feeling of futility. Alright, there's also a bit of a sense of slight bitterness associated with that as well, which is also within your short-term future and overlapping with the here and now. You let that get to you to the point whereby when you are in conversation with someone, you can actually forget that there are people who are around you who can be your friends. Alright, you're forgetting that you're part of society and of the fact that you can turn these friends into something special. And I think that once you've recognized what it is about the way you've been thinking, which has been holding you back, you'll be able to get some real victory here, because the reading is talking about you developing a certain level of personal strength as a result of self-revelation, which is going to transform your life. Now, shortly thereafter, we do have signs relating to a romantic engagement, which is going to provide you with a great wealth of experience, knowledge, and understanding. Okay? And finally, we've got even more romantic signs further down the line for you. Now, they're not there immediately, because the main message of this particular reading is about focusing in on the here and now, and the attitude you've got, the attitude you've developed, and where you want things to go in the longer term future. I can see that you can get somewhere, and I feel that you are definitely someone who will have a good relationship. Now, the Ten of Coins, when that came up, I think that's also talking about wealth in another way as well, but that's still there for you further on down the line. You've got to carry on being what the previous inquirer, really was, namely a valiant individual. And I believe you can do that. Okay, everybody, that's it for today. Remember, get your requests coming in via the email nickdutchtarot@gmail.com, and I will look forward to speaking to you again soon, very, very soon. God bless.